Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. John here at Havoc Maker Studio. Happy 4th of July. Happy Independence Day here in the United States of America. So while you guys are at work and getting ready to get home, or maybe you're already at home and you're just chilling out until later on this evening's festivities, thank you for tuning into this video. So we're going to talk about my favorite subject, my favorite company, Games Workshop, over in the UK. Oh, I love this company so much. I mean, they've got the best pricing. I love how all their games, they keep cranking out a new edition every 3 or 4 years to keep it fresh. I love the fact that their videos, their movies, TV shows, whatever you want to call them on the Warhammer TV app are just absolutely stunning and brave. Why they're not getting Emmys or Oscars, I really don't know. Maybe Nickelodeon Kids Teen Awards, whatever they're called. It's really a shame that they're not getting it. I mean, the quality of that Flash animation is just staggering. And not to mention all the great things how Games Workshop treats not only their customers, but their friendly local game stores, you know, the lifeblood of their product line. Oh, such a great company. All inspiring. That aside, I'm just joking. I do not like Games Workshop these days. Now, does Games Workshop still put out some really amazing miniatures? Yeah, they sure do. And do they put out some great lore in their novel series? Oh, absolutely. The Horus Heresy series, even though I've had to stop reading it because it just got too grim and dark even for me, it's still quality work for the most part. There's always kind of some misses here and there, but by far and large, their novels are really, really good stuff. But besides that, Games Workshop has lots of problems, and I've definitely covered them here. Here in the very near future, we're going to cover their second half of their fiscal year, so that's the 2021 to 2022. We already covered the first half, so we're just waiting for the official investors report to come out. We got a little bit of a preview, but it's not enough to really kind of chat about, so we're going to hold off on that for the moment. But we will be covering that, and right now it is not good. Now, of course, Games Workshop is going to spin it like, hey, things are great, but let's face it, we've looked at the numbers. It's not great. It isn't. Are they still profitable? Yeah, definitely. They're going to be profitable at least the next 3 years if they keep going on their current course. But speaking of their current course, we've got a number of issues that are starting to pop up. So first up, we're going to talk about this new paint line and the issues. So first, let's talk about the contrast paints. So contrast paints are amazing already. I've stopped buying them just because I found other means to get the same effect. You guys have already seen plenty of videos out there where you can mix some medium with some paint. You can thin it down. I'm using right now the much more, get greater value for your buck out of the transparent paints from Monument Hobbies. Their Pro Acryl line. They do require thinning, but that's part of the whole process. You can have it really thick, you can have it really thinned down, but by far I'm getting a better quality of, I guess, contrast paint, if you will, a greater effect than I was before with the contrast paints. Now, I still have contrast paints, and I'm going to continue to use them until they run out. And once they're done, that's it. I'm done with them. So we got 25 new ones coming. And if you're not familiar, these are 18 milliliter bottles, which isn't much, but it does go a long way. And they're $7.80, at least here in the US. By contrast, no pun intended, the transparent paints over at Monument Hobbies is 24 milliliters in a dropper bottle for $4. There's a bit of a difference in the price. And plus it's got, a twisty cap and it's got some agitator beads in them. So better quality product for less. Well, you get the idea. Then we're going to jump over to take a look at, we got 7 new shades. Now, if you're not familiar with shades, that's like your Nolan Oil and Agrax Earth Shade, which are your 2 biggest sellers when it comes to shades. And this is where part of the problem comes into play. The first one was the contrast paints. All these new contrast paints are just slight variations of existing contrast paints. They're a little thinned down, or they're a little bit of pigment added to ones that already existed. So there's nothing really super great with most of these new contrast. That's aside. Now we're going to talk about the shades, because this is the biggest issue. So right now, all these articles are on Spiky Bits. So if you want to know a little bit more, go ahead and go to Spiky Bits, read them there. I don't want to take credit away from Rob Baer and his team. Just reporting on the news as it's reported. So the contrast paints, or the shades, the images you're seeing on your screen right now, we have the old, which is on the left-hand side of the picture, and we got the new, which is on the right-hand side. So what is essentially has happened with these new reformulated shades is that they have thinned them down. Something that we as painters, as hobbyists, have already done. Either we put it on as its normal coat, or we add a little bit of water, or maybe a little lamy and medium, maybe some spit, whatever it is that you use, you already thin it down to get the right consistency, right? It's that easy. The shades are not an overly complicated type of paint to use for your models. But Games Workshop went ahead and did a thinned down, 2 thin coats maybe, thinned down version of the shades, which did not need to be thin in the first place. That's the first issue. The second issue is they put them in these new snazzy 18 milliliter bottles. That's right. You've gone from a 22, or is it 24? I think it's a 24 milliliter bottle. 24 milliliter bottle, right, at $7.80. So $7.80 for a 24 milliliter bottle, which is by way is also the same price as the contrast paints in an 18 milliliter bottle. So they've gone from a 24 milliliter to an 18 milliliter bottle for your shades. So your Nolan Oil, Agrax Earth Shade, all those are now going to be in a smaller bottle for the same price. So you're getting less paint, you're getting a lower quality paint, and you're paying the same price for all of that. So it's actually, you're losing money, you're losing paint, and you're losing quality. All of that is coming down the line, which has already got a lot of not only hobbyists, but the local game stores pretty pissed off. Part of the problem also is coming from the trade accounts. And this is where the local game stores are experiencing issues. Now, after reading this article, I've went ahead and talked to a couple of my local game stores here in Dallas and down in Houston, Texas. And they're having issues on how do they get rid of their old paints, how do they get their new paints in, and the cost. So if you're not familiar, if you have a trade account with Games Workshop, this is how you officially, legally can sell Games Workshop product at your store. And to do so, you have a different trade account levels, and ranging from little ones to, full encompassing ones, which require you to have certain items in stock, everything from paints to miniatures, books, and other products have to be on your shelf. Once a year, or maybe it's twice a year now, you will sit down on the phone with your trade rep. You will go through, you'll figure out what stock you're missing. You're supposed to, which I know a lot of stores don't do this. You're supposed to go through your trade rep, say, hey, this is the stuff that I'm missing from my trade stock. I need to go ahead and get this on restocked. So I'm at full SL3 complete for you military folk. SL3 complete. I've got everything that's required for my trade account level. But most don't really do that. They don't care to do that. So on top of all that, now you have to pay $1,100 more, which is already a surprise that you have to pay more for these incoming paints. And usually when Games Workshop does kind of like a reskinning of boxes or paints, or adding new lines in. They'll, especially when it's swapping out older paints, they or older product, they usually do some sort of credit system where, hey, do you have X amount? You can, or up to X amount you can get credit for. So if you were to go, well, I bought like 6 boxes of Space Marine Intercessors. Well, your trade account level only allows for, only says you need to have 2. So, you're only going to get credit for up to this amount. That's very rare for that to happen, but it does happen. The other thing is the white dwarfs. After 6 months, the the first 3 months of that 6 month period, you can get credit for any issues that you have left over up to a certain amount. And that's part of the problem, is that the North America trade team is not communicating, or has been very piss poor at communicating with what is supposed to get sent back, where's the credit, what's going to be credited. And at this time, when we are facing a number of financial issues, at least here in the United States of America and kind of North America in general, I don't know too much about the rest of the world right now, but I know financially things are not great here. And then having to drop $1,100 with no sign of credit, no sign of, like basically a buyback, that's causing some people to run into some issues. And there's already some supply chain issues going on with like the chapter approved and the Nephilim Warzone book. A lot of issues going on right now with Games Workshop. And it sounds to me like after the past year, I would say at least since January, February of 2021, when we had the huge snafu with the Cursed City, I am getting the impression that, or at least in my opinion, we should see the headquarters of Games Workshop come down to North America headquarters for Games Workshop and do another purge. They did this back in 2013. They got rid of a lot of bad staff that were just really kind of ruining North America trade sales. Now, is that going to do anything to raise the profitability of Games Workshop? Nah, not really. It's just going to put them back on track. Now, I don't want anybody really to lose their job, but obviously there's some issues going on here in the North America sales team, and probably over in Europe, but not as bad. So we have some issues going on with the paint, and we take into account also influencers are starting to become a problem. We're seeing influencers really pushing these new paint lines, mainly because they get it for free. We've covered influencers before, but they get the paints for free, and they've got to be good. The product has got to be good, and they've got to hype it. Otherwise, they don't get their free stuff, and they can't disclose certain things with the friendly local game stores because of the NDA that they have. So they're getting information before the friendly local game stores, the people that are going to be selling the product, which is causing an issue. Now, in regards to, we've already kind of covered the shades, as an alternative, before we get into this next part, as an alternative, and I have not tried it yet, but I've heard very good things about it, is the speed paint range from Army Painter. You are getting 18 milliliter bottles for, I believe they're $4.25 or $4.50. Now, I have not tried these, so I cannot vouch for this, but maybe some of you have tried this product. So go ahead and put it in the comments below. If you have tried it, let me know what your impressions are. Should I try that? Please let me know, because I would like to kind of branch out, especially I like the dropper bottles. And if I can get the same amount of paint that I would get from Contrast and the Contrast Games Workshop paint for $2 or $3 cheaper, and get the same quality or close enough to the same quality that I might just have to mix like a little bit of Lamy and medium, which I already do, or a little bit of water, I am totally down for that, because I am all about voting with my dollars. And the less money that I give Games Workshop, which is pretty much nothing now, if ever, the better off I am and the better off I can convey this stuff to you. So let me know what you guys think, 'cause I would love to be able to get your impressions before I deep dive into the speed paints. I'm always a little nervous when I try new paints, but right now the speed paint quality looks good. It looks on par with the contrast paints, and they have a pretty sizable range. So, and here we go. No more spills, control of dosage, not prone to drying out, and twister caps keeps paint fresh, which, that right there, three of those things are already top notch quality, well above Games Workshop. Because if you're not familiar, Games Workshop has the little, the pots with the lid that clamps down. Why they still haven't transferred over to a dropper bottle, I don't know. It's so archaic and it's so wasteful. I really don't know why they're doing it, why they're so resistant to change. People would be super ecstatic if they would switch over. But you know what? At this point in time, there's so many good paint companies out there. And Army Painter's not the best with the regular paint line. It's kind of hit or miss. But there's when we got people like Monument Hobbies. Let me go and pull up Monument. Can I spell Monument Hobbies? Spell Monument Hobbies. When you have Monument Hobbies, they have a better quality paint than anybody out there. I would say they are better than Vallejo and Scale 75, which are relatively good. The consistency is great. The color range is great. The dropper bottles are perfect. The price of these paints, let's see if they've changed it. Okay, they're $4.40 now for 24 milliliters, which is still cheaper, $3.40 cheaper than Games Workshop. Man, oh man. I don't know what's going on with Games Workshop, ladies and gentlemen. At any rate, so let me know what you guys think. Have you tried the new contrast paints? Have you tried the new shades? What do you guys think about the pricing? Are you done buying from Games Workshop? I'm interested. Plus, I'm also really want to know, please definitely tell me about the speed paints. Have you tried them? Are they worth it? If they are worth it, I will run out this weekend, buy them, and give them a try. At any rate, you guys have yourself a wonderful 4th of July. We'll be back later this week with 2 videos. I've got a sneak preview for it's next week. A sneak preview for an upcoming RPG that I've gotten advanced copy of, digital copy of, that is going to go on Kickstarter the following week, and my video will drop the day after it goes live. And we've got to cover more Games Workshop news and some upcoming news for Marvel Crisis Protocol. Anyways, you guys have yourself a wonderful day, and I will chat with you later. See ya.